today? We can read this, or is it too complicated? This demise, event, it's different. Maybe we can understand more today. Okay, Chandanitai. In Harinam Chintamani we find that the Mayavadis may show some devotional symptoms in body, mind, but their impersonal greeds bars their entrance into Vaikuntha proper. They erroneously believe that Vaikuntha is part of the material universe, lower than Brahmaloka. That is their creed. So Sahajya imitation may not be there, but their devotion is not pure. It may be in the jurisdiction of Shataguna, material purity at most. They do not have real substantial faith beyond the conception of Brahma. The higher, deeper vision of Vaikuntha, Goloka and Vrindavan, they can understand the real nature of self-dedication. By addiction, we enter a perfectly different world. Dedication is better than renunciation. Renunciation of the negative is good, but it is destructive. It will lead to the zero conception of everything. However, by accepting, searching and attaining your inner self as units of the world of dedication, we find a new world before us, a new land. The Mayavadis can't believe this. They cannot believe that if we are transformed, then our innermost selves become members of the plane of dedication. When we backed by the sadhu, the guru of very high stature, we can do anything. By the grace of his support, whatever kirtan is practiced will be effective. Meditating silently may be praised as more efficient in a particular context. But if we venture superficially to chant the holy name in that way, there will be great opposition. And we may become atheists. It can happen if we do not have sufficient support to fight against the odds. We must not venture to attack the enemy when our position is weak. But when backed by the great generals and sufficient munitions, we must march on. that will help us to engage in real Kirtan. The real factor is Sadhu Sangha, which has a connection with the higher power. Otherwise, nothing has any value. The stand must be taken on the real plane of Sadhu and Shastra. We must cultivate the real thing, protect the reality of the bhajan. For the weaker devotee, the sadhaka or aspirant, the greatest necessary is sadhu sangha. Even as the scriptures are necessary for knowledge, sadhu shastra kripa. If we have the mercy of the saints and the sanction of the scriptures, then our kirtan will be best. Our attention should always be towards the negative, submissive side. If we can practice in submission, our promotion cannot be checked. Without qualification, if we are very eager to go upward, there will be tendency to fall down. Without qualification, if we are very eager to go upward, there will be a tendency to fall down. Tasya yede mama rasostu satyam. May I have the aspiration for servitude, for bhajan, or internal service. Such a temperament should always be followed. That dasanam dasatvam dehime babu. May I always be a servant of the servant, of the servant. So promotion is inevitable if we always try to adhere to the lower duty. Eagerness for promotion is the enemy. That is for pratishtha, renown, and that will undermine everything. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur said that imitation arises from the attraction of pratishtha. Pratishtha means to get fame, name. Attraction for the desire to hold this superior position and acquire a name for oneself. That is the great enemy. Don't fall prey to pratishtha, the eagerness to hold the higher position. Rather, dynam, humility, is the healthy sign of a devotee. When Vrindavan Thakur says that one who feeds thousands while obtaining his own nourishment is greater than one who feeds himself. Kirtan means to cultivate oneself while helping many others at the same time. But when we have no capital of our own, if we go to preach, we will meet such opposition, asatsanga, and the ankura, the bud, will be nipped. If we are kanishtadikari, neophytes, we should not preach to others without vigorous baking. Vigorous with back. Kirtan means to preach, to approach others. We should not venture to do that as Kanishta Adhikari, because we may be converted to atheism. Only after passing through the proper stages, Shravanadas, Varanadas, Saranadas, Prapanadas, the phases of hearing, acceptance, practice and attainment, can one preach independently, Apanadasa. Otherwise we can only preach with the help of someone in Prapanadasa. We should have an immovable connection with reality, an absolute conception of reality. Such stable position is necessary. Become invulnerable. Develop certainty, sambandha jnana. Then we shall be able to understand and harmonize differences that we find in the writings of the acharyas. We will know then what instructions to apply in each situations, and under what circumstances one or another particular process has been advised. It is practical knowledge. Yeah, can follow, or at least. Anything in connection with God, including all types of bhajan, is good. We are not against anything for that nature. However, we must consider that what will be the most effective according to our capacity. At the same time, we must not commit any offense of omission. How can we be so audacious as to say that smarana is superior and that other types of bhajans are of a lower order? We may distinguish very cautiously, but not merely to satisfy our curiosity. We must not venture to make light of such matters. These are all serious points. To consider one Vaishnava over another is not a game. The distinctions are very subtle. They are devotees, and we must not venture to place one above the other according to our crude necessity. It is not an academic exercise. We should not amass some theoretical knowledge to impress our students. It should not be accepted in that line. Means only knowledge without having realized it is theoretical knowledge. And it should not, this academic exercise, we should not amass some theoretical knowledge to impress our students. It should not be accepted in that line. This means jnani, theoretical, we may here understand. Be short. Consider one Vaishnava over another is not a game. Yes. It comes, at least in our state, on our level. And in our level, it is also said that smarana is not suggested to practice now on our level, because smarana is, in one sense, it's higher. In another sense, it may harm us, because we cannot remember Krishna. We can remember externally the form of the Lord on the altar, externally, but he is absolutely non-material, not his spiritual. He is a person, but he has nothing to do with this material world. So the connection should not be on the external form or external in the mental system. We should not speculate, we should not meditate. In this sense, Harinam, Sankirtan, Kirtan and hearing, it is given by Mahaprabhu first. The Goswamis, they were on their other levels. So we should always be conscious of the practical side. They are so great, and where am I? Who am I passing judgment over? There should be some limit to our adventures, audacity. Only if the real necessity arises shall we venture to establish the superiority of Lakshmi over Shukadev or Ambarish. So we pray to Nityananda Prabhu. We want to come to an adjusted position. If I have committed any offense, aparadha, when dealing with so many subtle things about the great personages, please, Nityananda Prabhu, absolve me of that offense and restore me to my normal, humble position. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, I bow at the feet of the Vaishnavas. May there be no offenses in my attempt to serve them. Sarva Vaishnavera Bhayakari Namaskara Tyaparara Kichum Nahukamara. When we deal with so many great things, such as trying to speak about great personalities of the highest order, we should beg Nityananda Prabhu for pardon. Ask for our audacity. He is Patita Bhavan. He is the savior of the fallen souls. He is a Doshitashi. Generally, he does not take any offense. Humility means not to encroach on the rights of others. However, it should not be self-destructive. It must be natural. Humility is accepting no position, because a servant has no independent position, because he is always at the command of the master. He is always situated within infinite possibility. The servant is humble to his master, not to the Gundas. Gundas, everybody knows. Gundas, you know. Gundas, Thakur's. Yeah, this is Bengali. Gundas, they are called. Bengali, you don't. Gundas means criminals. So the servant is humble to his master, not to the Gundas. His humility must be directed chiefly towards the master. Be humble towards the Lord's own, the Vaishnava. Be humble there. When it is necessary for Hanuman to burn the golden city of Lanka, his humility is not disturbed. He is as humble as anyone can be in carrying out the order of Lord Ramchandra. He is fully given, wholly surrendered to his master. This is a good example, Hanuman. He destroying whole Lanka, Ravan's city, and still he is known as the most humble servant of Lord Ramchandra, because he is only acting according to Lord Ramchandra's advice or will. He is fully given, wholly surrendered to his master. Humility, in other words, is surrender. Humility means to present no opposition to the command of the master from Vaikunta, the upper section. Humility does not drag one into subordination to the serpent, tiger and jackal. Our real relationship is with the Vaishnava. That is the plane where devotees take their stand. We are concerned with the Vaishnava. And humility means that we do not resist our master's instructions. So without opposition we carry out whatever order comes to us. We possess humility, sunicata. We are not prejudiced. We generally think of humility as pertaining to the outside world. But this is not correct. It means if you show external humility, and this is has on the external plane, this must not mean that I have realized what is humility. So generally we think of humility as pertaining to the outside world, but this is not correct. To the right thinking person, the members of the external world are deluded by their mad. They are mad. Humility lies not in the standard of madness or in catering to mad people. A madman has no standard of his own. Therefore, humility means to have a standard apart from the outside world. Prabhupada has defined humility as that which is absent where there is a spirit of enjoyment. So when the spirit of enjoyment is increasing or is manifesting in us, then humility is absent. means is no. The enjoying spirit, the spirit of exploitation means aggression. There cannot be humility in aggression. Humility is 10% service. There is no humility in exploitation or in renunciation either. These two are opposed to the normal nature of the world. They are totally misconceived. They are our enemies. They challenge the normal reality of the spirit. So even in renunciation there's humility is not, may not manifest. They challenge the normal reality of the spirit. The spirit of the exploitation and the spirit of renunciation, both are revolt against the proper working of the truth. They are totally misconceived. Real humility must be in relation to the fullest respect of the truth, not to the misconceived world. The standard is not that of a madman. So real devotion service, whose object is to please the sender, a competitive spirit between two persons will not negate humility. The devotees feel inspiration and direction from the sender and cooperate accordingly. They are connected with the absolute sender. So Yogamaya may arrange competition. They are not responsible because their necessity is only to please the sender. It's a very high level. Whatever a pure devotee is doing, he is doing to please his Lord and his Guru. So for the external or mundane conception, they may not understand. They may not understand what's going on. The Absolute is that way, but not out of necessity. Aya eva gati premna svabhava kutila bhavet. It seems to be crooked, but it is not. It is the very nature of the absolute dealings. It is necessary only for the variety and diversity of our service to Krishna. It is designed from the upper quarter. The devotees are not responsible for that. There may be competition, but we should not infringe on the property of others. So our duty will always be to dedicate ourselves more and more intensely, and we shall do that according to how we may be commanded by the higher energy. We must always keep ourselves ready for that intervention. 10% we shall obey the instruction from the upper quarter without any hesitation. That is our duty. Whatever will be asked of us, we shall do. On the battlefield, if the general asks a particular battalion to fight in the first battle, they may not say, why shouldn't the second battalion be commanded to go? Why should we go first? We shall die and they will rejoice in victory after the last battle. Why should we go first? So the military will shoot them. then and there. It is the general's prerogative. It is not left to the soldiers to determine which battalion will engage first. Only the highest authority command. Complaining against that high command invites immediate death. This is hard to swallow. We have to understand there are two levels. In material plane we cannot accept on this plane. And the absolute plane, everything is perfect. Even it is said, Vyasadeva, who was an avatar of the Supreme Lord, he compiled the Vedas, but it is said, Lord Shiva know, Sukadev and one more, they have understood Veda, but Vyasadeva, he may or may not have understood it. Even he was an expansion, an avatar, where the Lord, through him, he compiled the Vedas. So he may have understood or may not. So it is like this. But he did perfect service. But he may have understood it or not. He just followed the order of the Lord according to his order. Only the highest authorities command. Complaining against that high command invites immediate death. So if we are not able to follow the order of the Supreme, if we are not connected, we will face birth, death, old age, and disease. So fools rush in where angels tread, fear to tread. So like fools we rush into the subtlest realm of sentiments of the highest order. So we must beg to be excused by the high personalities. So we should not be fools and to jump into on a level where we are not able to understand and not qualified to be. So it said, angels fear to tread. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. So those who are real devotees, they are very careful. They fear to tread into these higher levels, in this deeper understanding. So we must beg to be excused by the higher personalities. Apasitanda, or philosophical adoration, strikes very harshly. It was Swarup Damodar's service to examine any poems or writings for purity before they were taken to Mahaprabhu. The writings with Apasitanda were offered to Mahaprabhu, he would be very severely disturbed. Apasitanda cruelly attacks the ideal of the higher thinking person. So they may be offended. We shall try to enter into that garden without disturbing any plant or person roaming in that sphere. we shall enter not with curiosity, but with all humility and respect for them. Otherwise our talks will be pure intellectualism and not Hari Katha. Any question on this? Everything clear? And we may stop here. Jai Srila Pujabhat Jalila Bhavishtam Vishubhat Brahmamsa Vicharya Asata Shanta Srimad Bhakti Rakshakshadadev Goswami Maharaj Hidai Jai Shri Gurudev Nityalila Bhavishtam Vishubhat Brahmamsa Vicharya Ashtota Shanta Srimad Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj Hidai Nitai Guru Pramanandi Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha